moss is too dry! This moss is too wet! I hope you guys enjoyed that dramatization of how to make a moss pole. If you guys really do want to make a moss pole, I did make a video of that. I'll link it above and put in the descriptions below. So after I made that how to make a moss pole video, I did have people asking me how I mounted my plants on there. It's really easy. So today I had to make a new moss pole and mount a new cryptantha that I had. So I figured I'd make a video and share with you guys how I do it. Hello plant friends! If you're new to this channel, I'm Jimmy. I'm a doctor and tropical plant hobbyist in LA. I make videos about my plants, other people's plants, and plants. So the first step is really just to slap your plant onto the moss board. So the plant that I'm showing here, my cryptantha, it's actually been unmounted and I've just been misting it for, I would say, over a month now. I sort of got really tired of doing that, so I decided I really just needed to make it a moss board. So as you're putting your plant onto the moss board, normally you can just do this horizontally. I did it vertically because I don't know why. It would have been easier to film if I did it horizontally, now that I think about it. If your plant already has roots along the stem or anywhere along it, it doesn't really change the process too much. All you really need to do is, again, just have your plant firmly against the moss board, and then those roots will just fend for themselves. Seriously, these shingling plants, they're survivors. Their roots will figure it out. They'll constantly hunt to where they can attach, and then they'll do the attachment. So after you place your plant onto your moss board, we need to find a way to tie it down. I just use cheap, common, regular cooking string, or strings you use when you're like tying roasts and meats and stuff. Find something affordable, cheap, handy. So one lesson I've learned is not to be stingy with the string. If you cut the string too short or on the shorter side, it makes tying a little bit harder. So when you're tying down your plant with the string, you really want to try to hide the string amongst the foliage or the leaves or in between the leaves as much as you can, to not have the strings stand out like a sore thumb. You can probably also find a string color that matches your moss. Yeah, that would also make things a little easier. Wheel. Wheel. So if you see what I did there, I did a double loop. So it's like wheel and then wheel. So double loop. It's a trick I learned from cooking, where if you do that, it helps keep the tie in place before you, tie the tie. Wheel. Wheel. So when you're tying, you can really do a pretty firm tie. Remember, the moss is acting as a cushion, so just like tie it pretty firm, and your plant will be fine. Along the way, you can adjust the moss, you can cut off extra pieces, you can clean up the moss as you go or at the end to make your board more presentable and to not have moss pieces just like constantly fall off your board. Then you just repeat the process as oftentimes as you think your plant needs. My boards, I think, are about 2 feet long. Normally I do 1, 2, 3, like 4 or 5 ties if my plant is the full length of the board. And there we go. That's how I mount my plants onto my moss boards. So I'm going to be doing an update on how my shinglers are doing pretty soon. If you don't want to miss out on that video, just hit the subscribe button and that bell icon next to the subscribe button so you don't miss out on my future episodes. Okay, till next time, happy planting.